I'm going to continue with the 1-1 notes, which is algebraic expression. So a quick little definition of algebraic expression is that they're variables and numbers all together. They're using operations. So operations are add, subtract, multiply, divide, and other stuff. And make sure you always remember not to use no equal signs ever. This algebraic expression, that means there's no equal sign. So we're going to use the substitution property now. So for our substitution property, if x equals a number, then we're going to replace the variable, in this case it would be x, with whatever the number is, the value. So you're going to plug it in. So we have now evaluating expressions. To evaluate the expression with the variable replacements, we're going to replace the variables with the given values. Each time you substitute a variable with a number, put parentheses around the number. You'll never be wrong if you do that. And then after you put parentheses around, you are going to follow the order of operations to evaluate. Not the best handwriting. So for example, for number 1, I'm going to just substitute in a is 2. So where the a is going to be 2. That's a times b. There's a multiplication in between when the two letters are next to each other like that. As just b squared. So it's 4 squared plus 7. Now we're going to look at order of operations. Grouping symbols. There are grouping symbols too, but inside the grouping symbols it means start order of operations over simplify inside grouping symbols. Everything's already simplified. So then we don't have nothing with grouping. The next thing would be exponents. We have 4 squared. The 2 is multiplied times 4 squared, so the 2 is not involved with the square, the exponent, just 4. So we have 2 times 4 squared is 16 plus 7. We have multiplication and addition, so order of operations, PEMDAS, so we have multiplication, so 2 times 16 is 32, plus 7 is 39. Number 2, we have 3 plus substitute in x, negative 2 squared minus 4 times negative 2. Always put parentheses around when you substitute. Look at what operations we have. A multiplication, we have an exponent, we have subtraction, we have multiplication. There are all of our operations. So we have parentheses, but inside the parentheses is already simplified, so nothing there. We have exponents, so negative 2 squared is positive 4. I'll keep it in parentheses. You don't need to have it in parentheses as long as you have a multiplication symbol there. And now we have multiplication, 3 times 4 and 4 times negative 2. 3 times 4 is 12. Bring the subtraction down. 4 times negative 2 is negative 8. And you can look at that as subtracting the negatives is the same thing as a plus. Or you could think of it as the opposite of negative 8, which is positive 8. So this is really like 12 plus 8, which is 20. Next problem, let's substitute in 3 for a, so 3 squared times b minus b squared. We have multiplication, we have exponents, and we have subtraction. Let's do the exponents, so 3 squared is 9 times negative 4. Subtract negative 4 squared is 16. Now we have multiplication, so negative 36 minus 16, and that would be negative 52. Number 4, we have a negative, so the negative is going to be on the outside. Always just replace the variable with, or the variable with just the number. 3 times negative 5 over 6 times negative 12. So we have exponents first, so negative 12 squared. You can put that in the calculator if you'd like. That's positive 144, so we have the negative that comes down, and positive 144. You can think of it as a negative 1 if you want, times 144, which is going to end up being negative 144. To do the parentheses, or not with multiplication, we have, you multiply, so I'm going to convert the 3 to be as a fraction, represent as a fraction, so you're going to multiply across the numerators. 3 times negative 15, so bring the negative down. 3 times negative 5 is negative 15. And 1 times 6, so you multiply across the numerator, multiply across the denominator, is 6. 1 times 6 is 6. And then the negative 12 still will come down. And then we have over 1. So now we're going to multiply across the numerator here. So we have, well, let's multiply here. We have negative 1 times 144 is negative 144. And we have subtraction. And we have 15 times 12 is 180. Over 6 times 1 is 6. And then lastly, we have negative 144. 180 divided by 6 is 30. And that's negative 174.